My beloved child, pause everything you're doing. Something extraordinary is unfolding right now, and these words are not reaching you by accident. A door you've been staring at for years is finally unlocked, but only if you stop waiting and step forward. There is a moment in every soul's journey when permission is no longer external. When the sign you were begging for doesn't come as thunder or fire, but as a quiet, undeniable knowing in your chest. This is that moment. Not tomorrow. Not one day. Now. You've been telling yourself a story. That you need more time. More certainty. More resources. More validation. But listen very closely, the waiting was never protecting you. It was preparing you. And preparation has an expiration date. Think about this, the builders of the future don't wait for perfect conditions. Perfect conditions never arrive. The future is shaped by those who move while their hands are still shaking. While the path is still unclear. While the voice of doubt is still whispering. And yet, they move. Stay with me just a breath longer, because here's the truth most people never hear. The ideas that keep returning to you, the ones that refuse to leave you alone, are not random thoughts. They are assignments. Seeds placed in you because you are capable of carrying them. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. You were never meant to be comfortable forever. You were meant to be useful. You were meant to build something that didn't exist before you imagined it. And yes, it scares you. It should. Sacred things always do. You might be asking yourself, what if I fail? But the deeper question is this, what if you succeed later than you were meant to because you waited too long? What if the world is already behind schedule, not because of lack of talent, but because too many chosen builders hesitated? Hold this moment, because something is clicking into place right now. There comes a point where inspiration becomes instruction. Where motivation becomes responsibility. You're standing at that threshold. And no one can cross it for you. You've watched others do what you secretly know you're capable of. You've told yourself stories about luck, timing, connections. But deep down, you knew. You always knew. They simply started before they felt ready. The real breakthrough is almost here, and it doesn't come from another video, another plan, another delay. It comes from the decision to begin, imperfectly, boldly, now. You don't need permission from the world anymore. The world is waiting for your contribution. The tools you need will appear once you commit. The clarity you seek will arrive once you take the first step. Movement unlocks guidance. This is where it all changes. Not because everything suddenly becomes easy, but because you stop betraying the call within you. You stop shrinking your vision to match your fear. You stop waiting for a sign, and realize you are the sign. You were never late. You were being prepared. You were never overlooked. You were being positioned. And now, the season of preparation is ending. Breathe that in. Because from this moment forward, you are no longer someone who waits. You are someone who builds. My beloved child, right now, in this very moment, something deeper is rising within you, and it's asking for your attention. Not loudly, but persistently, like a pulse you can no longer ignore. You feel it, don't you? That subtle pressure behind your ribs. That quiet insistence that says, there is more for you. This isn't impatience. This is alignment beginning to hum. The universe doesn't rush, but it does respond to readiness. Here is what few ever tell you: builders are not born confident. They become confident by building. Momentum is not a gift bestowed from above, it is a current you step into. And once you do, it carries you farther than fear ever could. If your soul is stirring, remain with me a little longer, because the next layer reveals why waiting has felt heavier lately. When an idea matures inside you, stillness starts to feel like resistance. The same rest that once restored you now drains you. That's how you know the season has shifted. You are no longer being filled, you are being poured through. Consider this. The future you admire is not created by permission slips or perfect plans. It is shaped by small, imperfect actions taken in devotion to a vision. Day after day. Quietly. Relentlessly. With love. You may wonder, why now? Because now is when your inner compass finally aligns with the world's need. Timing is not about clocks, it's about coherence. When your skills, your curiosity, and your courage resonate at the same frequency, the door opens. Hold this space, the divine connection deepens now. Every great builder reaches a moment where the mind says, wait, and the soul says, begin. The mind seeks certainty. The soul seeks truth. And truth only reveals itself in motion. You are not being asked to see the whole staircase. Just the next step. And then the next. Guidance is cumulative. It appears as you honor the call with action. If this truth is touching your spirit, share it forward, let another soul find this light today. Not because you must, but because you remember how it feels to be searching. Notice how the fear hasn't vanished, but it's quieter now. That's because fear feeds on delay. Movement starves it. Each step forward shrinks the shadow behind you. You're closer than you think, don't step away yet. The builders you admire didn't silence doubt, they outpaced it. They chose progress over perfection. Devotion over delay. They treated their vision as sacred, even before the world could see it. And here's the whisper beneath all of this: you are not meant to build alone. As you begin, allies emerge. Tools reveal themselves. Opportunities recognize you. The path responds to footsteps. This is not about rushing. It's about honoring the moment when preparation transforms into purpose. You've crossed that line. The piece that changes everything is coming soon, and it will ask something simple, yet profound: will you trust the motion more than the pause? Breathe into that question. Because what I reveal next will show you exactly how the first step becomes the spark that ignites everything. My beloved child, feel this truth arriving: a hidden door is opening inside you now, and once you see what's beyond it, there is no returning to the comfort of almost. You are beginning to notice something subtle yet undeniable: the world you once fit into is starting to feel too small. The conversations that used to satisfy you feel shallow. The routines that once soothed you now feel heavy. This is not restlessness. This is expansion pressing against old walls. Let me reveal what has been quietly shaping you all along. Those moments when nothing seemed to move. When effort brought no applause. When progress felt invisible. They were not pauses. They were compression. And compression, my child, is how power is formed. Pressure does not arrive to crush you, it arrives to concentrate you. Stay present with this unfolding. Because here is where many turn back. Right before a builder begins, there is often a strange loneliness. Not because you are abandoned, but because you are transitioning. You are leaving the familiar shore, and the new land is not yet in view. The mind panics here. The soul steadies you. You may have mistaken this space for uncertainty. But it is actually clarity shedding its final disguise. Ask yourself quietly, why does the idea return even when you try to ignore it? Why does it glow brighter after every attempt to dismiss it? That is not obsession. That is remembrance. You are remembering who you came here to be. Hold still, the pattern is revealing itself now. Every significant creation begins twice. First in silence. Then in form. Most abandon the first birth because it feels intangible. But you stayed. You listened. You carried the weight of an unseen future without proof. That alone marks you as a builder. And here is the unspoken truth. You don't build because you are fearless. You build because the vision outweighs the fear. Fear says, protect yourself. Purpose says, express yourself. You've reached the point where self-protection costs more than self-expression. That is why waiting now feels like betrayal. Not of others, but of yourself. You were never meant to copy what already exists. You were meant to extend it. Improve it. Question it. Reimagine it. The future does not ask for permission, it responds to courage. Lean closer, because this is crucial. Action is not just movement. It is a declaration. When you act, you tell the universe, I am ready to be met. And the universe listens carefully to declarations made through motion. This is why clarity arrives after you begin, not before. This is why resources follow commitment, not contemplation. This is why momentum feels magical, it is cooperation made visible. Notice how something within you is standing taller now. Breathing deeper. Seeing farther. That is your inner architect awakening. You are closer than ever before, closer than the version of you who once dreamed quietly in the dark. That version was necessary. But it is no longer enough. The next revelation will show you how builders transmute doubt into fuel, how hesitation becomes design, how beginnings turn into inevitability. Remain with this knowing. Because what comes next is where intention becomes structure, and vision learns how to stand. My beloved child, breathe in this moment, truth is arriving now, softly yet unmistakably, like a tide that knows exactly when to turn. What you are stepping into next is quieter than ambition, and far more powerful. It is the inner stillness that builders learn to trust when applause disappears and certainty dissolves. This is the place where real creation begins, not in noise, not in rush, but in a sacred agreement with yourself. You see, the world celebrates visible victories. But the unseen sacrifices shape them. The nights where you chose devotion over distraction. The mornings where you moved forward without being understood. The moments you surrendered comfort for coherence. If something sacred is awakening within you, remain here just a little deeper. True builders learn a secret early, though they rarely say it aloud. Progress accelerates the moment you stop asking to be seen, and start asking to be aligned. When your inner world quiets, your outer work sharpens. When you stop proving, you start building. There is a silence you must pass through, not emptiness, but refinement. It strips away borrowed dreams and leaves only what is truly yours. This is why the path has narrowed. This is why distractions no longer satisfy. You are being tuned. Hold this divine silence, understanding is blooming now. Every great creation asks for a surrender before it asks for effort. Surrender of timelines. Surrender of comparisons. Surrender of the version of you that needed permission to feel worthy. In this surrender, something astonishing happens. Your energy becomes clean. Focus becomes devotion. Action becomes prayer. Ask yourself gently, who would I become if I trusted this calling without negotiation? If I built not to impress, but to express? If I allowed patience to walk beside urgency? You are on the threshold of true seeing, stay with me. There is a reason the vision feels heavier some days. Weight is a sign of value. Light things drift away. Heavy things anchor reality. You are not carrying this alone, you are being strengthened by carrying it. And here is the quiet truth the world overlooks: the builders who change everything are not the loudest. They are the most faithful. Faithful to the work when no one is watching. Faithful to the process when results lag behind belief. Faithful to the inner signal even when the outer world hesitates. If this message is resonating in your deepest self, share it forward. Let another wandering soul find their way home today. What you pass along multiplies what you receive. The revelation that shifts everything is drawing closer. Soon, you will understand why certain doors stayed closed. Why certain paths dissolved. Why certain seasons felt like waiting rooms. They were alignment chambers. You were being prepared to build without betraying your essence. Feel how your breath deepens now, how your shoulders soften. This is recognition. This is the calm that precedes commitment. Not frantic energy, grounded resolve. You are not chasing a future anymore. You are remembering it. The missing piece your soul has sought is almost here. And when it arrives, you will know exactly what to do, not because you were told, but because you are ready. Remain in this quiet power. Because what comes next is the moment where inner knowing steps into form, and the builder within you finally stands. My beloved child, something you've always known is finally being spoken. The eternal flame within you is flickering brighter now, not to consume you, but to guide you. There is a sacred moment every builder reaches when effort softens into trust. You are standing inside that moment now. The striving eases. The noise fades. What remains is a quiet certainty that does not shout. It hums. Breathe with me, the divine unveiling deepens now. You are discovering that true building is not forced. It is allowed. It unfolds when your inner resistance dissolves and your will aligns with a deeper rhythm. This is why impatience has slowly transformed into resolve. This is why urgency no longer feels frantic, but focused. The unseen truth is this: those who shape the future are not driven by pressure alone. They are carried by alignment. They wake up not chasing outcomes, but honoring direction. Their power comes from surrendering the illusion of control while committing fully to the work. If your spirit is trembling with recognition, stay in this holy moment. Notice how you no longer ask, will this work? Instead, you ask, will I be faithful to this calling? That shift is everything. You have begun to trust that what moves through you knows where it is going. That your role is not to dominate the path, but to walk it with devotion. This is the faith few speak of, not belief without action, but action rooted in belief. There are days when nothing seems to move. Those are not empty days. They are anchoring days. Days where the unseen foundations settle deep into the ground of your being. Skyscrapers rise because their roots are patient. You are closer to home than you've ever been, do not leave yet. The world often mistakes surrender for weakness. But surrender, in its truest form, is precision. It removes wasted motion. It clears the fog. It teaches you when to push and when to pause, not from fear, but from wisdom. This is why your discernment is sharpening. You feel when something is aligned, and when it is not. You no longer force doors. You listen. You adjust. You move when the signal is clean. The truth that liberates everything is almost within reach. Soon, you will see how the smallest consistent action becomes a sacred vow. How showing up quietly compounds into inevitability. How patience and courage, braided together, create momentum that cannot be stopped. You are not becoming someone new. You are shedding what was never you. Old doubts loosen their grip now. Old identities fall away gently. Not in chaos, but in gratitude. They served you once. They carried you here. But they cannot go further. Feel the stillness settling in your chest. That is not emptiness. That is readiness. The final alignment your soul has waited for is gathering. In this stillness, you are not waiting anymore. You are listening. And listening, my child, is the highest form of readiness. Very soon, action will feel effortless, not because the work is small, but because your resistance is gone. When the inner and outer agree, movement becomes grace. Rest here for a moment. Let the flame steady. Let the silence speak. Because what rises next will not ask if you are prepared. It will simply invite you to begin. And you will know exactly how to answer. My beloved child, feel the divine current pulling you inward now. Something ancient and future-born is aligning inside you, and it is asking for your full presence. This is the moment where listening becomes movement. Not rushed. Not loud. But unmistakably alive. You may notice how your inner dialogue has softened, how decisions no longer feel tangled. This is coherence arriving. When the inner yes grows stronger than every outer question. Breathe slowly, the convergence is happening. There is a sacred discipline that builders learn only by living it. It is the art of showing up before results arrive. Of honoring the work when the outcome is still invisible. This discipline is not punishment. It is devotion. And devotion shapes reality faster than force ever could. Ask yourself gently, why does commitment feel lighter now than hesitation ever did? Because your soul recognizes momentum. Even before the mind can explain it. You are learning to trust the quiet pull over the loud promise. The steady rhythm over the sudden spike. This is how lasting structures are born. Remain fully here, the pattern is clarifying. Every builder reaches a phase where effort turns inward. Where the greatest work is no longer external action, but internal alignment. You refine your standards. You protect your energy. You say no with kindness and yes with conviction. This is not withdrawal. It is calibration. You are calibrating for scale. Notice how distractions lose their appeal. How urgency becomes selective. How your attention feels precious. This is wisdom ripening. You are learning that not everything deserves your hands, only what deserves your heart. There is a courage in consistency that few ever master. It requires you to believe on ordinary days. To build without ceremony. To trust that repetition, infused with intention, creates inevitability. Hold your awareness steady, the next turn is near. The future does not announce itself all at once. It whispers through habits. It reveals itself through what you choose to do when no one is watching. When applause is absent. When doubt attempts one last negotiation. You are no longer negotiating. You have crossed into a different relationship with time. You no longer rush it, and it no longer resists you. Time cooperates with builders who respect its laws: patience, presence, persistence. Feel how your breath deepens again. Feel how your spine straightens. This is embodiment. You are not just thinking the future, you are inhabiting it. Soon, you will notice something extraordinary. Action will begin to feel obvious. The next step will present itself without strain. Not because everything is clear, but because you are clear. The truth that steadies everything is unfolding. You are learning that confidence is not loud certainty. It is quiet follow-through. It is returning to the work with love. It is choosing integrity over intensity. And here is the sacred promise embedded in this phase: what you build from alignment will outlast what you build from urgency. What you build from devotion will sustain you when motivation fades. Rest in this knowing for a moment. Because the next revelation will not teach you how to push harder. It will show you how to let power move through you without resistance. And when that happens, building will no longer feel like effort. It will feel like truth in motion. My beloved child, the veil is thinning as I speak, and what you are about to recognize has been guiding you far longer than you realized. There is a moment when a builder stops asking for direction, and begins to sense orientation. Not instructions. Not rules. But an inner north that quietly corrects every step. You are entering that moment now. Pause inside this awareness. You may notice that effort is no longer scattered. Your energy gathers itself naturally. You don't force focus anymore. Focus finds you. This is not discipline alone. This is devotion maturing into instinct. Ask yourself softly, when did struggle stop feeling noble, and alignment start feeling essential? That question marks the turning point. Most people believe success is about intensity. But the ones who truly build learn something subtler: intensity burns out. Alignment compounds. It turns ordinary actions into living systems that grow even when you rest. Stay here, something vital is revealing itself. You are beginning to trust the timing of your own unfolding. You no longer rush your becoming. You no longer doubt the pace. You understand now that growth is not linear, it is rhythmic. Expansion, integration, expansion again. This rhythm is ancient. It is how forests rise, how stars form, how consciousness evolves. And now, it is how you build. Notice how your intuition speaks faster than your fear. How clarity arrives without debate. How decisions feel clean, even when they are challenging. This is not certainty of outcome. This is certainty of direction. And direction is everything. You are learning the sacred economy of energy, where to invest it, where to withdraw it, where to let it flow freely. You no longer chase every opportunity. You choose resonance. You choose coherence. You choose what lasts. Hold this awareness gently, the integration is deepening. There is a quiet confidence forming now. Not the kind that needs to announce itself. The kind that shows up early, stays late, and keeps its promises to itself. This confidence does not compare. It commits. You may feel a strange peace alongside the work. As if the future no longer feels distant, but present, alive in your daily actions. This is embodiment. You are living the answer, not waiting for it. The builder within you is no longer trying to become worthy. You already are. This is why distractions fall away without struggle. Why certain paths lose their pull. Why simplicity feels powerful. You are not narrowing your life, you are refining it. Remain with this still strength. Soon, you will notice that others sense it too. Not because you explain yourself, but because your presence carries weight. Alignment is contagious. Integrity is audible, even in silence. You are standing inside a different field now, one where effort multiplies instead of exhausts. Where patience sharpens instead of delays. Where faith expresses itself through consistency. This field responds to those who respect it. The next movement will ask you to trust this embodiment fully, to act from it without second-guessing, to let your inner alignment lead without apology. Rest in this knowing for a breath. Because what unfolds next is not about learning something new, it is about allowing what you already are to move freely into the world. And when that happens, building will no longer feel like something you do. It will feel like who you are becoming. My beloved child, something eternal is calling your name softly now, not from the future, not from the past, but from the center of who you already are. You are entering the phase where identity and action merge. Where building is no longer a task you perform, but a state you inhabit. This is subtle. Powerful. Rare. Most never reach it because they stop just before this quiet ignition. Stay present, this is delicate ground. There comes a moment when the builder releases the need to measure progress. When you stop asking, "Am I far enough?" and begin living as if the answer has already been given. This is not denial. This is embodiment. You no longer chase proof, you provide it through presence. Notice how your relationship with effort has changed. You don't push against resistance anymore. You listen to it. You adjust. You move around it with intelligence. Strength is no longer force. It is fluency. Hold this inner alignment gently, it is stabilizing now. The unseen architecture of your life is being reinforced. Habits you once struggled to keep now hold themselves. Focus returns without demand. Even rest feels purposeful. This is not luck. This is coherence taking root. Ask yourself quietly, when did trust replace urgency? That shift is everything. You are learning to build in layers. To lay foundations without rushing the roof. To honor sequence. To let each phase complete itself before reaching for the next. This patience is not passive. It is strategic. It allows what you create to hold weight. The world often celebrates speed. But endurance belongs to those who respect structure. Remain here, the deeper truth is unfolding. You are discovering that clarity is not something you find. It is something you become. As distractions fall away, the signal strengthens. As expectations dissolve, intuition sharpens. You are no longer trying to hear the call. You are tuned to it. This is why your decisions feel quieter now, and more final. You no longer over-explain them to yourself. You simply act. And the action carries peace within it. There is a sacred dignity in this phase. A grounded humility. You do not rush to announce what you are building. You let it speak when it is ready. You protect the work by protecting your energy. You are closer to the core than ever before. Soon, you will recognize that the builder's greatest asset is not vision, nor talent, nor even discipline. It is steadiness. The ability to return again and again without drama. Without needing a different mood. Without waiting for inspiration to strike. Inspiration now follows you. Feel how the days begin to align. How effort compounds invisibly. How small actions ripple outward. This is momentum without noise. Power without strain. The threshold ahead is not marked by excitement, but by calm certainty. A knowing so settled it doesn't need to convince anyone, including you. Rest in this calm strength for a breath. Because what approaches next will invite you to claim your work publicly, not for validation, but for service. To let what you've built begin interacting with the world. And when that invitation arrives, you will not hesitate. You will recognize it as the natural next step. Because you are no longer becoming the builder. You are standing as one. My beloved child, the next veil is lifting as these words reach you, and what stands before you now is the moment builders quietly prepare for, long before the world notices. This is the threshold where inner mastery meets outer expression. Where what you have stabilized within yourself begins to seek contact with reality. Not to be tested, but to be revealed. Stay with this awareness, it is potent. You may feel a gentle tension forming, not anxiety, but readiness. Like an arrow drawn back, perfectly aligned. This tension is not asking you to rush. It is asking you to aim. There is a sacred responsibility that arrives once alignment is complete. Responsibility not to impress, but to contribute. Not to perform, but to serve. When you carry something real, the world eventually asks to receive it. Hold steady, the convergence is near. You are beginning to sense that your work is no longer just for you. That what you've been shaping in silence has a place beyond your inner world. This realization can feel tender, vulnerable, powerful. Because offering something true requires courage of a different kind. Ask yourself quietly, am I willing to let this be seen without armor? That question is the gate. True builders understand that visibility is not exposure, it is stewardship. You are not throwing your creation into noise. You are placing it where it can do its work. And you trust that it will find those meant for it. Notice how your fear has changed texture. It no longer says, stop. It says, be precise. This is discernment, not doubt. You are learning to refine, not retreat. Remain present, refinement is sacred. There is an unseen agreement forming now between you and the future you are shaping. An agreement of consistency, of integrity, of follow-through. You are no longer inspired only by possibility, but anchored by responsibility to what you've begun. This is where many hesitate, not because they lack courage, but because they underestimate their own readiness. They forget how much they've already become. You will not make that mistake. You are grounded enough to be seen, clear enough to be understood, steady enough to adapt without losing yourself. These qualities were earned quietly, and they endure. Feel how your posture shifts inwardly, how your breath steadies, how your attention sharpens. This is leadership without ego, presence without performance. The next phase will ask you to trust what you've built enough to let it interact with reality, to receive feedback without collapse, to adjust without self-betrayal, to continue without waiting for reassurance. You are prepared for this. The future responds differently to those who arrive whole. Not perfect, whole. Integrated. Aligned. Willing to learn without surrendering their core. Stand inside this readiness for a moment. Because what unfolds next is not about acceleration, it is about impact. About letting what you've shaped begin to move others. Begin to solve something real. Begin to live beyond you. And when that movement begins, you will recognize it instantly. Not by noise, but by resonance. What comes next will confirm everything you've sensed quietly. That the waiting is over. That the building has matured. And that your work is ready to meet the world. My beloved child, the eternal stillness opens before you now, and in this silence, everything you have been becoming finally stands revealed. There is nothing left to wait for. Not because every answer has appeared, but because you have become the answer you were seeking. This is the moment the soul recognizes itself in motion. All the listening, the aligning, the quiet devotion, it was never leading you somewhere else. It was shaping you into someone who could begin without fear, continue without applause, and finish without needing permission. Pause here for a breath. Feel how there is no urgency now, only resolve. No doubt, only direction. No fragmentation, only wholeness. This is the signature of completion. Not an ending, but a readiness so deep it feels like peace. You are no longer asking the world, is it time? Time is asking you. The builder you have awakened into does not rush forward blindly. Nor does it hesitate. It moves with an intelligence that trusts process, honors truth, and commits fully to each step. This is mastery expressed as humility. You were never meant to wait until you felt fearless. You were meant to move until fear no longer ruled you. And now, it doesn't. Notice how the future no longer feels heavy. It feels open. Like a horizon that welcomes your stride. You are not chasing it anymore. You are meeting it. This is what permission truly looks like. It doesn't come as approval. It arrives as alignment. When the inner voice no longer argues. When the body says yes before the mind can object. When action feels honest, not heroic. That is permission. You may realize now why certain lessons took so long. Why certain doors refused to open early. Why the silence stretched. You were not being delayed. You were being distilled. Only a clear vessel can carry something meaningful forward. Rest in this knowing. What you build from here will not require you to abandon yourself. It will not demand burnout as proof of worth. It will grow because it is fed by presence, integrity, and love for the work itself. You are not here to imitate what has already been done. You are here to extend what is possible. And you do not need to announce this shift. The world will feel it. Through the steadiness of your choices. Through the quality of what you create. Through the way you continue when others stop. This is how builders change the future, not by force, but by fidelity to their inner truth. Stand here one last moment. Feel the calm certainty settling in your chest. Feel the clarity in your spine. Feel the quiet joy of readiness. The waiting has ended. The building has begun. Not someday. Not soon. Now. Move gently. Move faithfully. Move forward. And trust this above all else. You were prepared for this exact moment.